Okay, I'm back. Nothing's really happened. I just needed to interrupt this particular recording, so I've got it separate to what we've just talked about. Right, welcome to making flowers for this wonderful, lovely, colourful wreath. So what, basically, you don't need terribly much, especially in terms of wool, because a flower takes less than 2 grams of wool. So if you've got bits and pieces, like little leftovers of a project that you've made, and there's a nice colourful wool, then you can use this. And some of these flowers take even less, like for example the pansy. Let's look at them individually, because I've only just pinned them on there. So all of these are actually on a no-sew brooch back there. So this pansy has got minimal flowers of wool in it, but it's got, or maybe we should look on the overhead camera. Let's have a look at the flowers before we start, and I'll see which ones we can do. So this one here is actually needle felted onto felt, and it's a little bit like a wild rose. And for this you will need the following template, which is this one. This is the template. Is that the template? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. No, not that one. Maybe. I don't. It might be in the instructions that you were sent, which makes the wild roses. I think. I'm not entirely sure now. I got confused. Certainly, you can do the anemone with this, which is this one here, that dark purple. And that is definitely, I think you've got the instructions for this as a flock member, which is this one, that one, okay. The little primroses I haven't even got on there, but they're like little sort of little flowers. And remember, you can scale these up. And then the roses, you need the heart shapes. So you have these individual heart shapes which you needle felt, and then you put them together. And this is needle felted onto water soluble paper. The little daisies, you've got the instructions as a flock member. You will have had those in your email. And then these roses, I will show you separately how to do them, because then they're not even needle felted flat onto anything. That's just a different way of doing this altogether. You've definitely got the pansies. So in your flock box, you will have had the pansy. These are the pansy templates, and you need 3 of these and 1 of that. So I will show you how to make these as well. For the little daisies, there has actually been a live stream before, and also there is a live stream or a video tutorial on our YouTube channel of how to make a basic wreath. Now the basic wreath comes basically from, I've got it here, from this, okay. We have a wreath pack, and you get all the wool in there to make the wreath base, which will look at some point like this. This is not finished yet, so a lot more wool will go on there. And then you cover it with your favorite green wool. Now there is, believe it or not, but there is a wire in there. So it's just because you build the wool up around it, and you keep building it up and felting it down, and keep building up and felting it down, that you actually get to a wreath that looks like that. Okay, the green bits, obviously. Underneath, it looks like that. So I haven't covered the back to show you that it's actually really soft, and it becomes so bulky and filled with wool that you now can directly felt onto it. Because remember, if you did our Advent project last year, you will have made this wreath, a wreath base to add all of your little separate projects on it, like a tree and a little fire and a little tomte on there as well. So let's get practical. So first of all, if you are a flock member, which is a subscription, obviously, I just have to say this in general, because not everybody might know it who might be watching this in the future. At the moment, it's just exclusive to you guys, to you flock members, or won't say the other word, that's private. You basically have in your first flock box a Try Me product, which is our water soluble paper. Now the water soluble paper is brilliant because it's see-through and it feels a little bit, and this is the best way to describe it, like a dried up wet wipe. And I'm not even joking, because some of you might know this already, but I have used this accidentally as water soluble paper when it was in fact a dried up wet wipe. Now this is definitely water soluble paper, and because it's see-through, it's perfect to draw around it. Now the tip that I will give you is always use a blunt pencil, because you don't want it to catch the paper. It's horrible when it does. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do heart shapes today, because I want to make a rose. So just because you're doing flat shapes doesn't mean to say that you can't turn them into a 3D shape. So here are my rose petals, and I'm actually going to have to do individual ones because they will be put together individually. So at the moment I'm drawing around them together, but I am actually felting these individually and cutting them out. But I can do it all in one go. So I need, and what I thought I might use is actually the wool that is here on this sheep's watch. So if you definitely haven't got any wool at all, you can use wool tops for this. And I'm just going to tease off some fibers. Yeah. So it takes very small amount of wool. Because it's a very long fibered wool, I'm actually going to try and shorten it a little bit. It's a beautiful color. And then I'm going to fill in every single heart shape with my felting needle. Now you can use a medium felting needle, which I've got here, and just stab the wool in through the water soluble paper and where your felting mat is. So that crunch, crunch, crunch is me stabbing the needle all the way through my water soluble paper. And the felting mat that I'm using is our earth friendly felting mat, and I've got it the firm side up with a soft side underneath. And you can and I covered it with a green sheet of felt. Mostly I do this these days because the color is the white color. Often if I had my white water soluble paper on there, you wouldn't necessarily see where the water soluble paper ends and starts. So colouring in every single heart shape separately, and I'm keeping the edges really separate because I'm going to cut out every single heart separately. That sounds terrible, but you know what I'm talking about. It's not really, they're not real hearts, and so I'm going to do that. Now whilst I'm stabbing this with my felting needle, it's actually, you can first of all tell that the wool gets stuck in that mat, because that's what happens. You can't help that happens. So you have to tease this off gently now and then before you, and tease it off really close to the paper because you don't want to tear the paper. But you can also use extra tools such as your 7 or 5 felting tool. So this is a Clover 5 needle tool, and it works really well on these flat shapes like that. Now if you have one of these, okay, you might want to use that. Okay, this is the brush mat, and this tool, this 7 needle felting tool, only works on the brush mat. I haven't found anything else it works on yet. I mean, there might be something, but I don't know what. So what I always suggest is, if you haven't got either of it, don't get either of it. Get your 5 needle Clover tool, and then you can use it on all of our mats with a guarantee. This is what it looks like from the other side, but you're only felting it from one side. Somebody asked before whether there is a right or a wrong side on the water soluble paper, and no, there isn't. You just literally, any old way, either way you can felt onto it, but once you start adding the wool, you only felt from one side. And now I'm going to fill in the second heart. There are so many ways of making flowers with very little extra equipment. You don't really need anything other than a template, really. It's the templates that you know, and you can get so many templates if you find, you can draw your own flower templates as well. I tell you what I often do is, this is a bit of a naughty trick, but if I see a nice flower on my screen, then sometimes I just literally draw around it on the screen, but obviously not around it on the screen. I use some water soluble paper, lay it over the top, and where's my needle gone? Oh, there. And then draw around it, and then I've got it at least on something that I can either directly use, or you use some see-through paper and create your own template whilst you are with a soft pencil drawing on the paper whilst you're holding it up to the screen. Has anybody else done this before? I don't know. I'm going to just have a little catch up in the chat here. So just bear with me whilst I go on to the front camera here, and I'm just going to read some of the comments in the catch-up here. So, use any scrubs for wreath wrapping. Good idea, Ashley. I love this. Okay, I need to go back to the beginning. Okay. Okay, sorry, I'm not there yet. Okay, I got there now. Does everyone else sniff every bit of wool that comes through the door? Yes, 100%. I love it. I'm a compulsive wool sniffer. Margaret says, hi, a bit late, sorry, no worries. It's all recorded so you can rewatch it. Kath says, yep, I love the smell of wool, stroke sheep. Terry says, maybe folks could tag themselves in the retreat picture so we can know who is who. Nice putting faces to names. Just an idea. I wish I lived over there so I could go to the retreat. It looks so beautiful in the Forest of Dean. Any excuse to go camping, 100%. You don't have to live close to camp. It's not a retreat requirement. You can travel all the way from the US. So Catherine says, have a holiday over here and see all the sights. Just exactly what I was going to say next. Katerina says, I learned to love it too. It's cozy and comforting, even though it's a bit barnyardy. I just love that smell, but I'm a country bumpkin. I've grown up in the sticks, and I've been surrounded by sheep and goats and spent lots of time cuddling little lambs and kids and so on. Katerina says, wreath requires a lot of stubbing. It does. You can wrap tighter, which doesn't need so much stubbing. Thank you, Colette. That's a good tip. I made this and put Mary, Joseph and baby Jesus. A night sky with a star. It turned out very nice. That's the thing. Once you've got the hang of doing a basic wreath shape, you can do anything with it. You can even just attach things temporarily and then change it over to different seasons at different times. It is really quite a good one to have. And if you are a subscriber to our makers boxes or the flock membership, today is the 31st of July. You have until the end of the day to get your discount on that particular pack. Please do share a photo in the group. I'd be very interested to see this. So it's always problematic to share photos if you're streaming on Facebook or on YouTube, but you can share it outside this live stream, which I'm sure you meant anyway. Oh, Margaret says, I'm sorry I cannot, as I have to my best friend for Christmas last year. You went to, I don't know, whatever you mean. I will look after after Steffi's finished and see if I took a photo. Hi everyone, sorry I'm late, says Kirsty. Love the idea of drawing around it in the screen. I will try it. So you haven't tried this before. This is what I find so amazing, that I always think everybody's done this before, surely, because isn't that what everybody does? And then it's just silly old me who does it. A good bag full of fluff. I turn my monitor that is attached to my laptop so it is flat like a light table, and that's how I've always made mine templates for many years. See, it's not just me. I can't actually do this with my laptop. I can't, it won't, I don't think it goes all, well, it's not as sophisticated as yours, obviously. Dawn says, I bought the wreath base, really looking forward to making one. You'll love it. Right, let's go back to the overhead, because we do want to get a few flowers done. So there is my rose taking shape. Doesn't look like a rose in the slightest, but trust me, it will. And actually a lot of, so this is maybe another revelation. I don't know if it is or not, but a lot of, as needle felting is quite a new concept of crafting. If you think of it, it's actually quite a new concept. But we take a lot of stuff from other crafts. So think of how sugar flowers are made. You know, how do you make sometimes flowers from different media, not just wool? How does it all sometimes come together? And actually, some of the roses that are on the wreath are like ribbon roses. So you can make, you can make roses from ribbon, and that's I've pinched that from that idea. And then how you make the rose here is a little bit like the sugar craft, where you have the individual petals and then you just sort of put them together and turn them into a layered rose. So think outside the box sometimes. If it works in other crafts, how can you translate this into needle felting? That's what I often so find myself wondering. If it works with that, why can't I create a fabric that allows me to do what other crafts can do? So I think that's that might be sort of a bit of a tip for some of you who want to adventure out a little bit, and then you can share with us what you've discovered, because I'm always keen to see other people's ideas too. We can share it all. Right, so I've just sped this up a little bit, and now I'm going to felt it down really thoroughly with my multi-needle tool, and just adjusting some of the shapes a little bit here and there and everywhere. So notice that with the top, if you're using a top, contrary to a bat, you would probably apply the wool more in sort of a direction of how you imagine the sort of the colouring of the petal runs. So I'm going from the centre towards the outside or vice versa. There. And felt that down again. The main thing is that when you felt on water soluble paper, make sure that you felt it nice and solid, because that's the idea, is that you can create, you can see that this part has been felted very much and this part hasn't. And the other thing you need to remember about water soluble paper is that you don't always have to dissolve it. You can, but you don't always have to. So if you dissolve the water soluble paper, again, the water soluble paper actually came from not at all from needle felting. It came from the sewing crafts and from embroidery, and where you can embroider something onto something following the pattern of the water soluble paper transferred onto the water soluble paper, and then you can just rinse it out. But water soluble paper has, when you don't rinse it out entirely, has got almost the quality of a fabric stiffener. So at the moment this is really soft. It doesn't sort of adhere to how I want it to stay. But if you don't rinse it out entirely, the water soluble paper, but just leave it, I can't show you this because I have to wait until the water dries it, and there won't be enough time to do that. Then you can allow it to dry, and we use this technique on butterflies, on many other things. You can allow it to dry, and it will hold its shape, so it becomes a lot stiffer, and that works really well for the roses, even though I'm going to show you how to make the rose, but I'm not going to dissolve the paper. Now, what else have I brought that I wanted to show you? So we have actually got quite a lot of different scissors online that we sell, and I brought them all. So we've got the little scissors here, which I've got open and you can use. We've got some rainbow, what we call the rainbow scissors, which are, these are straight, And then we've got the curved ones as well, which I'm just looking for now. Bear with me. Here. I'm going to unpack them quickly. I didn't have time to do that beforehand. So these are the curved rainbow scissors, which work really well if you need to cut around corners. So let's try that. Love the colours. Perfect. It's really easy to cut this. So that's the curved scissors. Now I don't need to unpack these because I've got some open. I use them all the time actually. These are just little embroidery scissors. But of course if they're not curved, you have to sort of like make more of a movement with them. And then we've got some simple, cheap and cheerful sewing scissors, or craft scissors if you like. Open these up as well. And I love these because they're really sharp, like super sharp, and they're very affordable. They're definitely some of my favorites, even though they are the cheapest that we sell. It doesn't always have to be expensive. And then we have these scissors, not just curved, we also have them straight. And so, they're nice. They've got nice big handles. I think that's what I like about them a lot. Look, their handles are, compared to these, they're big. If you've got big fingers like I have, you'll like these because you can actually get your fingers in there. So that's really nice. So anyway, now what you need to do is you do need to cut your heart shapes. So I'm just going to cut this in half, and in half again, and in half again. I think this is the quickest way of making it. Now you can, as I said before, you can what's the word? Dissolve the water soluble paper. You can also use our edging tool. Now the edging tool is such a little insignificant thing. It really is. I mean, it's not something very sophisticated. It's literally just two transparent sheets of acrylic, but it's so good to use it to get edges nice and neat. Now I know there is water soluble paper in there, but it still works, where you stab into the edges to neaten them off. And especially if you're not planning on dissolving the water soluble paper, then this is a good way to finish off your heart shape even more precisely. And you can see exactly where the needle is going by because they're see-through. And it's fun to do it too, because you can see for once where the needle actually stabs. It's quite interesting to see the progress happening. So if you look at that, and if you look at that, how much neater that is. So the idea is that we are putting this rose together, and you're literally just overlaying the petals. So because one is a little bit smaller now, I'm going to put that on the inside, and then I'm going to put the others around it. And you can make a much more layered rose, but the main thing is that you have them, just stab them together for now. So remember, you can dissolve the paper in water. You just dip them in, pull it out, squeeze it, squeeze all the water out, and then you can fasten them together. Or you can, what I'm doing here now is just use it with the water soluble paper in there, or you can dissolve the paper afterwards once you've fastened them together. So I'm trying to make them close up a little bit. If you want to make more hearts, to make a rose that has got more of a core, like more petals basically, the more hearts you make, the more petals you can put together. So get the petals felted onto each other without destroying the shape of the rose. And I know there is water soluble paper showing at the back at the moment, but can you see how this has the potential for a really sweet little flower? And I'll show you the ones that I have made a little bit closer up. So there's this one here, and I've actually put green around it, so I haven't done that yet. And then there's this one here, which has got a leaf with it as well. And these are really stiff because these are this is literally the dissolved water soluble paper in there. And here you can see there's the heart shape of the shape that I've made, but it's one size up from the one that I have just done. So put a little bit of green around the base if you want to finish it off. And I can still dissolve the water soluble paper now so that I don't have these white bits on my rose, and I promise you it will completely be invisible. It will not damage your flower in the slightest, quite the opposite. It will make it better. And like I said, I can't show you how the rose will, this particular rose will look at the very end of it all, but I've shown you the roses that I've done before in exactly the same method. So add a little bit of green there. You can also put them on a stem. We do sell the florist stems. They're the paper covered what are they called again? Stem wire. So because they make stems for flowers, we have them in green and in brown. You can also buy them in white and then cover them yourself. So there you go. That's a rose made quite quickly. What makes this wreath so attractive is the number of flowers on there. So don't just stop at 1 or 2. Make lots of them. That's all I will say. The more you make, and I don't know if you have spotted, I've sort of put them in the right order. So you know, the purples, and then going into the blues and reds, pinks, and then the yellows and the whites. So I putting them in a color order makes a huge difference to the overall appearance of that wreath. So you can see it probably now, reds and blues and purples, they're going into the pinks, and then into the yellows and the white. So that is the rose, one of the types of roses I've shown you. Now if you want to find out how to make another rose, just stay. I'll do some more, but I just want to catch up with some of the chats here. Ashley says I've got 3 wreath spaces in my stash, but was going to use to make wheels. Wow, that is an intriguing project. No doubt you will share it with us. I plan to organize our family summer 2024 holiday round the retreat, says Pip. Wow. So looking for any suggestions for campsite nearby. Well, there are lots of campsites in the Forest of Dean, I can assure you. I've tried tracing round flower images on my tablet, but the picture keeps moving. Ah, yes, that is annoying. I don't know what I do. I think you have to have minimal contact with your screen, especially if you've got a touch screen. That's not so good. Dawn says she bought the wreath base. Really looking forward to making it. Right, so that catching up there. Sabina says the rainbow scissors are great for me as a lefty. Oh, good idea. This is the sort of thing that I need to know from you, because I never thought about a left-handed use of the scissors. Oh, can see. Yeah, I can see it. I mean, I'm not left-handed, but it must. They do. Yeah, they work really well, because they're not one or the other, are they? What makes them? Ah, okay, so yes, that's right. I now can't work out what the difference between left and right-handed scissors are, but I do know that I cannot cut with left-handed scissors, but I can definitely use these left-handed, even though I'm right-handed. It's a mystery. I'm sure there is a technical and engineering answer to all of this, but I have no idea what it is. I cannot get this live on my computer using my phone at the moment. That's very strange. Colette says she loves the edging tool. I need those as I'm always stabbing my fingers. Yes, that's what it's for, Diane. So you don't stab your fingers, the edging tool. Trisha says, I've made a poppy yesterday, but obviously soaked it too much because it is still not dry. You need to squeeze the water out. Don't be afraid. You're not going to damage it, I promise you. Just squeeze it tight. If you felted it nice and tight, you're not going to damage it. And anyway, you can make adjustments. Even after it's dried, you can still felt into it. Colette says, definitely a must in your toolkit. This is the edging tool. Can you bring Rose closer to the camera, please? Okay, here we go. Rose coming this way. That's the one I've just made with a little green stem, or I don't know what it's called. And you can still see the water-soluble paper, but this will wash out entirely. So just dip it into the water and then squeeze it. Squeeze it, let all the water distribute around the paper. And you will get sticky fingers. That's good. It's a good sign. And when all the paper has vanished, then you've done it right, and then you just leave it to dry. And if you're really impatient for it to dry, just stick it in your fan oven on lowest setting for a bit. That's what I do in the summer when there's no heating on. Just put it somewhere where it dries quick. If you're impatient, it's one of the reasons why I don't do wet felting. I'm way too impatient for it to dry. So that's one of the flowers. Now that was onto water-soluble paper. But what you can do, the poppy. The poppy, which if you are if you've had the what's it called, the instructions sent through in the email, then you can do the poppy quite easily. But the poppy is actually one of the easiest ones to make in general. And I'll just give you a little tip. So I know people always say, oh, you know, I'm not very good at drawing, but a poppy template is literally, it's a figure 8 like that. Okay, that's one, and you can make adjustments if it's not quite right. There, that's one petal, and then you're gonna do another one the same, either exactly the same, and then you have felted one this way and the other one you attach offset to it like that. So you can actually draw your own templates. Don't be afraid, just give it a go, because nobody's needs to know that you've had several attempts at doing it. And of course the other way to do it is to just always fold the paper in half and then just draw half of it like that. And then when you cut it out, what am I cutting into now? Oh, it's all right, not the end of the word. When you cut it out as your template, you've got a perfect shape because you've literally cloned the other side by there. That's what you need. 2 of these, and then they are offset, and that's your poppy. And then you just put black in the center. It's the simplest way of making a poppy. So you will have had the instructions to do this, and for this you use the water-soluble paper. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to do a pansy. Oh gosh, got a cup of tea here which I very nearly spilled. Thankfully not on my water-soluble paper, because that is never a good idea. Right, so now where did I put my felt? Here we go. It's a weird color, but it's all I could find quickly. There. So it's a slightly blue-greeny color. Now you've got your templates. I'm not even going to teach you how to use a template. I have done so many of those. I can do them. I can just do them. So basically, I suggest if you've got a template, you can obviously put it on top. But I'm just going to cut 3 petals out at once. Being very ambitious here. 3 petals. They're sort of slightly, I don't know what shape they are. Slightly that shape. Make them a bit pointier. Oh, that one is connected still. That it doesn't have to be exactly the same. I promise you, flower petals are never exactly identical. They're actually quite wonky and sometimes a bit out of shape. Right, that's my 3 petals I need for that. And now I'm going to cut exactly how I've showed you how to do the poppy, I'm just going to cut a figure 8 out for the 2 petals, the 2 smaller petals that a pansy consists of. I think this is one of my favorite flowers to make because it's the simplest but yet the most effective. Let's find one of them so I can show it to you a little bit closer up. This one here. There. Okay, that's the pansy that I'm trying to copy. Now, if you look at the construct of a pansy flower, it's always the same. 2 petals, exactly identical. One is covering the other up almost entirely. And then you have got the smaller petals here. They can sometimes be really small and sometimes they can be bigger. And then you've got your last one sitting here in the center. This is how a pansy is constructed. Always the same. Never changes, okay? And then you have obviously got the different colors that you can choose. So I'm going to make, oh gosh, I need to find some wool actually. Just bear with me because I hadn't planned to make this particular one. So I might have to just reach out left, right and center. Let's just use some of this wool here. I've got a really lovely purple that I'm going to use. Oh, hang on a second, something's happened here. Go away. No, no. Here we go. Sorry, pressed the button by accident. And I've got a nice purple mix wool here. Oh no! Oh, go away. Okay, are you still there? I hope you're still there. I've definitely pressed the wrong button. Just get a bit more of that. And now I'll get some of that because mixing colours is just what I love. And then you need a little bit of black as well. Here we go. Okay, this is it. So going to the overhead camera. I've got these, I don't even know if this color pansy exists, but it is now. So you're basically coloring in each petal with, well, I'm going to mix a bit of orange in there because I love the 2 clashing colors together. Mixing wool is perfect for making flowers. If you've got a really straight color with no variation in it, I would suggest mix it up because no flower has got just one color tone, which is why the multi-tone red works so well for poppies and for roses and many other flowers. Now to put the colors on here, because I want a little bit of that felt to be visible still, I'm actually almost sort of painting it on as if you're putting brush strokes onto it. And you're felting it down onto the felt. So this is a different concept. You can make it entirely out of wool. You can use the water-soluble paper for this. There is no rule that you have to use the felt for this. This is just an option that I'm offering as a, yeah. You can also make the roses out of felt. All of this is completely interchangeable. You will have such a great time just experimenting. Just go for it. There's no, you can make fantasy flowers. They don't have to be realistic flowers. Just fill that wreath with the flowers of your choice. Oh, just broke a needle in there. Right. I need to find my sharp spin in a minute. There. 1 petal and let's do another petal the same way. So I've still got some of that mixed wool that way. Felt it down. You can trim the edges of all the wispy fibers later on. Just get it felted down first. And it's the same principle. Just from one side, lift it off as soon as you can. If you have one that you don't like so much of the petals, then you can use that for the one that's hiding behind the other. So there we go. I'm trying to not have too much of the light background showing. And then I'm going to do the, where's my other petals gone? Oh dear, I've lost them. Where have I put them now? Oh, there. They're hiding. Okay, hiding underneath already. And then with this one, I'm actually going to try a little bit more orange because the third one can be a little bit different to the others. Make that a bit more orange. Like that. I think the principle is just that you've got 2 of the pansy petals exactly the same. And then you have the third one slightly different. And these are in harmony with one of the third ones. So they're roughly the same. But do apply the wool as if this is how the veins in the petals run. That's the main thing. There we go. Felt that down as well. And I'm not too worried about spilling out over the edge. If you're a precision person, you can make this as precise as you like. If you're a bit like me, who just gets it all done first and then sorts out the details, then that's fine too. Now you can, on your template, you've got a little dot that can go behind, but I'm not going to do that, because what I'm doing instead, I'm actually joining all the petals together, but now I'm using the darker color here, and I'm going to mix a little bit of purple into it, because that darker center in the pansies is often like the darkest purple you can imagine. It's almost black but not quite. So just mixing this together. So if you just have got black, it's fine, nobody will know the difference. But just get these felted together, these petals, by adding a little bit of black in the center like this. It's a new variety what I'm doing. And then allow some of that black wool to spill into the petals, almost like little markings, like little lines that sort of spill into the petal. They can be quite long markings, or they can be little splotches. Anything will do. If anybody's into flowers, please tell me there are orange, purple pansies in the world. But like I say, I may have created a new species. And then just felt that one into that petal. So you're reaching out, so you're repeating almost some of the colors that are in the back and tying it together. So we've got all the colors in every single petal. And then most importantly, each pansy has got quite a, I'm just going to cut the fluffy bits off a bit so it looks a bit neater. So you can trim the edges down a bit so you don't have fluffy fair pansies. And then you can add a little bit of it's often like a bright orange, which I can't find now. Hang on, I'm still looking. Well, we can use a little bit of the yellow and mix it with the orange, and that might just make it more of a yellow tone rather than a pale yellow. But they often have quite a bright inner center, like a splosh of yellow in there. And you can see that I didn't have an egg yogi yellow to hand, so I'm mixing the wool, and I'm just going to put that in the center as a bit of splash of color right in the middle. And doing all of this has actually secured all the petals together, so I don't want to fasten them on too much, but this is your pansy, or my pansy, and you wouldn't think it comes together as well as this. I know it looks a little bit like, how do these blue color felt shapes suddenly turn into a pansy like this? But they do. And what I love the most is that you can use our no-sew brooch pins. If you don't know them yet, they are actually really magical. And what you do is you just insert them, and then you swivel them around, because they haven't got a coil. They're, so you can put it in, swivel it around, and you can wear it as a brooch straight away. There we go. I really like that one, actually. That was a bit of a happy accident, that one. There. Oh, let's hold it right so you can see it. There you go. How long did that take? Not very long at all, right? So we've done water-soluble paper, we've done felt. We can do 2 more, and we can also use, ta-da, this. This is just normal baking paper that I've got, because you can actually, this is something that I discovered by doing the fruit bat. You can use this as a barrier. So you could in theory, let's just try this, draw around a flower template, whatever template you fancy. Let's have a look. What have I got? I have got just making it out of, well, let's just try the anemone. So the anemone has got several layers, so maybe I shouldn't try that one. What was on that? Oh my goodness, my desk is so messy, you wouldn't believe it. Honestly, I am the worst messy crafter on the planet. That's all. Oh, I'm just gonna do a fantasy flower. I'm just gonna make one up. Why not? Okay, right. Draw this on there. Where's my pencil? Where are you? Oh, it's gone. Ah, found it. Okay, let's do this together. Okay, so I'm just gonna do freestyle it, okay? Oh dear, not good drawing on your felting mat. I just need to take that away for a minute. Let's draw that one here. So just 5 petals. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh dear, not the best flower I've ever drawn, but it will do. And I'm not even going to cut, I'm just going to cut that paper a bit smaller, but I'm not going to cut the shape out. So if you've got a template that you're following, just use that. I could have actually just used the anemone template and just not do an anemone, but another flower. So basically, all back onto my felting mat there. And now I'm going to make a nice, oh, I'm into orange tonight, so I'm going to use one of our orange wools, which is the golden orange. It's ready mixed, I don't need to do anything with it. So the main thing now is that I am actually going to felt this into a shape, but I'm not attaching it to the paper. I'm using the paper as a barrier. So I'm actually using it as a template as well, which I haven't done before. I've just used it as a barrier. And what I mean by barrier is that sometimes when you felt wool directly on your felting mat, all you do is you fasten the wool onto your felting mat, because you haven't got a base to felt on, which is why we use felt or water-soluble paper. But if you are trying to make it just from wool, with nothing else in it, pure wool, you can actually use this paper, parchment paper, and you tease off the paper first before you tease off the shape. And this is something that I've discovered when I wanted to make really fine bat wings, and I couldn't work out how to felt it down. So you continuously go back over your shape, you add more wool, and you colour in your whole flower shape in that way, but the paper is not relevant, other than that it creates the barrier between the wool and the felting mat to stop the wool getting felted on. So you can make a nice thin shape without having to use felt or wool, and just felting into the paper as a, it's almost like it's your guide, but it's not. It's, yeah, it's still, the wool still felts in on itself, but you're using the paper as an aid to do so. By the way, you can of course also use other templates that are 3D templates, such as biscuit cutters or the like cookie cutters, other templates to make a very precise shape. I've done lots of that as well with hard biscuit cutters. You can make your rose shape like that as well. If you have a whole rose biscuit cutter, sorry, a hard biscuit cutter, you can make individual petals that way as well. It's not dissimilar to what I'm doing now, except that you don't have the paper as a barrier. And once you've done that, then remember, the one thing you have to remember, always take the paper off first before you take the shape off the paper. It is really quite magic, because it does make that shape. So, and then you can fill in some more. It's quite thin in parts. You can use your multi-tool on that as well. You can use your edging tool to get the edges nice and neat. You can make several layers in the same way. Always peel the paper off before you peel the flower off. And I just need to get my shape right again, because I've gone a bit rogue here. You will not be able to use this parchment paper or baking paper later on to bake your cake, unsurprisingly, because it will be totally perforated with lots and lots of stabs of needle holes, and might be quite nice to count how often you had to stab the needle. If you can manage to count the holes, that would be fun, wouldn't it? So yes, use your multi-tool to felt it down quicker. But also what I wanted to show you is that you can use all kinds of other things, and this is the last flower that I will be doing, because time is running out. They do take quite some time, the flowers, but they're well worth it if you make them all and put them in big. It's the quantity that makes the wreath. Don't just put 1 or 2 on there. I'm just going to count how many I've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 flowers on there. So it is a lot of flowers. I once made flowers, crocheted and knitted flowers and needle felted flowers to fill flower baskets, and the single flower absolutely made no impact whatsoever, but putting about 50 or 60 in a flower basket was like the most delightful thing to look at. But also what was really nice is that putting them in a certain color order, it really, I can't stress it enough. Now I'm not going to refine this, the edges very much. I might just show you on one what you could be doing with your edging tool, because I wanted to show you how you can also use our antennae. So we sell flower stamen, basically. We call them antennae because we've originally used them for butterflies. But you can use these flower stamen to add into your flower as an extra feature. You can also use Angelina fiber, which would be fun, to add into the wool or into the center of your flower to just give it that little bit of extra sparkle and texture. And you can also use curls to differentiate, so the inside of the flower, which is often quite the more special looking and fancy looking part of a flower. You can use little curls for that as well to make the center more special looking. So you can see that just with that edging tool, it is really quite magical how you can finish off the edges quite quickly, and you can see where you're going with it. I think that's the most important thing, because this is not a novice invention. This is not something that I came up with. This method has been used, people holding cardboard pieces next to each other and stabbing into them. I think what is quite innovative about it is that it is actually a see-through tool, so you can see where you're going with your needle, and you have a lot more control over what you're doing, rather than just sort of randomly stabbing into a dark cardboard edge. So there's my flower, completely made from wool, no extra extra things, and of course there's the parchment paper, truly stabbed to bits. Yeah, that's definitely not gonna hold any dough in place. So I'm going to now read some of the comments again, and then I'm going to finish off that flower, and then I'm done. So Alexia says, going to try the barrier method next time I make ears that need to match. Good idea. I love how you just roll with things, Steffi. You are too funny. If you're not a messy crafter, you're not doing it right. Well, I'm not so sure, because I'm sure there's a lot of very neat crafters, but I don't want to show you right now what my desk looks like. It's literally like something's exploded in the middle of it. And I'm also still looking for some useful curls, which they're probably somewhere here in this. Ooh, what's this? Oh, see, you just need to keep looking. It comes eventually. I've found some white curls. I might use them in the center with a little bit of, ooh, don't think I can push it to Angelina fiber in this mess. I don't think Angelina fiber is allowed to be lying around loose on even on my desk. Ooh, I found some nice turquoise. Yes. And some more washi tape. What else is? Ooh, I have found one of the little marigolds. This is the one I wanted to show you. You've got the template for that. It was hiding. Didn't want to be found. Terrible mess. Terrible, terrible, Steffi. You're so messy. Oh my goodness. Everything's all over the place. But I cannot find any Angelina fiber, and I really want to show. I know I've got it. So what I'm going to do is, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'll show you something else in the meantime. I don't need to show you this because you know this already. Have you seen our frog kit? Would you like to see our frog kit? Here you go. This is brand new. If you love frogs, especially the sort of slightly fantasy stylized one, then this is for you. It's a really super easy beginner kit. You can, anybody can do it. If you have a friend who you think wants to start needle felting, like we all think that our friends want to start needle felting, then just get them that little round frog kit. Or I also need to mention a campaign that's only valid until today, because it will expire tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. It's also still valid on tomorrow, Tuesday, but then it will. Oh, where are these wretched curls? Okay, I found them now. Oh my goodness, this is going to take me ages to tidy up, but I will do it. I will do it. I'm back now. So, okay, I'm back. Okay, I'm back. Right. So basically what I'm trying to say is that we have Angelina fiber now, but we also have a particular summer campaign still running, which is gives you a free wool mix if you spend £50 or more, up to £99 in fact, or you can get a free wool mix and a free robin kit, our popular robin kit, for free if you spend £100 or over. Now there are some exclusions, so don't go off buying lots of Zoom workshops, because you're not going to get that free, because that's not part of it. But the exclusions are well listed on our website. So that's one thing I wanted to say. And then the other thing I wanted to say is on Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock, which is the 2nd of August 2023, I will be doing a virtual walk through the shop, and I will be picking out bits and pieces that you want me to have a closer look at, and I'll give you some more tips on my favorites. But I've now found Angelina fiber, I've found curls, and now I can finish this flower off. So sometimes it's really nice to have sort of little different textures running into the sort of like petals. So you could use some of these curls. I'm gonna just try it all now to give it like a fancy center. This is not a realistic flower. I've made this up entirely, as you can tell. And I'm gonna use a little bit of the black. Do I use? Oh, let's just put these on first. So just have you can have these. I'm making this up as I go, by the way. It could turn out really bad. Just add little wispy curly bits into the into the petal of the flower, just as an extra little feature. There, add that one there. Excuse me. And then where are my, oh my goodness, this place is like a nightmare. I've had some little antennae, or as they are in fact flower stamen, that are specially brought in, and now I can't find them. Okay, whose idea was this to make all these different flowers? Ah, they're still in a pack. So we have different flower stamens. So we have these, which is a mixed pack, which actually shows you everything that, all the different ones that we do. So they're a really good one to invest in. They're tiny. They're really, really fine, but they can be quite effective if you want them sort of poking out of a flower. This is a mixed pack. I don't know. We do also do pink. This seems to be sort of just two colors. We also have got larger ones, which I just had a second ago, and they've disappeared as well. Come on, seriously. Ah, yeah, they're bigger ones. So they work really well for butterfly antennae as well. So I think I might actually go with the bigger ones today. Put these back in their little pack here, only because you can see them better. Okay, so we can use these and just a few together. And have them like sticking out. This is what I'm trying to get to, okay, like that. So they're sticking out like that. But before I do this, I want to have my Angelina fiber, and I'm going to use a little bit of black wool, which I've got here. Mix that together just for a bit of extra sparkle in the center of my flower. I haven't used the green curls now. There we go. Ooh, that's nice. Love this. What I love about Angelina fiber is as soon as you mix it into wool, you never quite know what it does. We had this really bright neon color Angelina fiber, and we had so much left over from, I can't remember what, I think it was a maker's surprise box at the time, and we just couldn't shift it. But anyway, I just had this idea of mixing it into red, and it turned golden, even though it was a really vibrant neon color. So you can fix these in by felting them in, these flower stamen, as I would now call them, flower stamen, but we also sell them as antennae for butterflies. I'm just going to trap them there, and then I've got to pull them up. So this is just some of them. Getting the center, I think it's called a pistil. The center of a flower is called a pistil. I never know what to call it, but I'm trying really hard to remember it. So the aim is to have these flower stamens sticking up. So I'm felting them down so that they're not, this is a little bit more sophisticated for those who want to maybe be a bit more adventurous and try out flower stamen with flowers. Of course you can also sew them on or fasten them on any other way that you feel more comfortable with. But I've chosen this way now. They're on a very soft cotton cotton thread, so you're not going to necessarily break your needle if you step into the cotton thread. But this is another option of how you could make a flower with sticky out flower stamen. Look, the wool has all come out on the other end, and then you can to get that more sort of curved natural shape, just stab into the base a little bit. Because we haven't got water soluble paper in there, we haven't got felt in there, so that we're just relying on the stiffness of the wool as you felted it down. But as I say, the secret of making these flowers and putting them on a flower wreath is in the quantity. It genuinely is. Make lots of them, and then so there's another one. I have covered literally I think all the different techniques, from the rose to a fantasy flower to a pansy, and I think they've turned out really well. I obviously have a bit of a theme here going. It's the orange and the red that seems to be taking my fancy, and I'm going to add them to my flower wreath now. So let's just see where they fit in the terms of colors. Well, it's just as well because I haven't got any orange ones yet, so the orange one I'm going to put here with the yellow there. Okay, and I'm going to put that pansy, well, there are the other pansies which I've taken out, so they need to go back in again, but keep the colours together, keep them together, the same-ish colours, keep them together. And there's the rose. So I've added a couple of flowers to my wreath. I don't think it needs to be covered entirely. I think it's okay to keep a bit of green showing. All the roses are falling out now. They're only fastened in with my with the no-sew brooch pins, so in theory I can just pick one and wear as a brooch whenever I want to. They also make really lovely little gifts. So you've got plenty, so much to do. And if you've taken your wool off the sheep swatch, there's still plenty left to make another flower, and I promise you, you will need the minimal quantity. So if you have got any wool in your stash, whether it's tops or bats, you have got the world of flowers literally right in front of you. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to check in with some of you people I can't believe that so many of you are still watching. Thank you so much, but it was quite a long live stream. So thank you for persevering, and so many of you are still here. Jane says, brilliant, love to see the different techniques all together in one place. Love you all, says Lily. Will rewatch, got to go. Sorry, got to go. My dog wants to go for a walk. I will catch up later. Oh my goodness, I don't expect any of you still to be here. I am absolutely amazed that you had such long willpower to be there. What I will ask of you, if you can, just as a last big favor, tell everybody about the Flock membership. If you are happy to do so, post your flowers into Everyone a Maker, not just into the Flock a membership group, but post it onto the Flock, sorry, Everyone a Maker. And if you're watching this anytime later on YouTube, then do give us the thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't subscribed yet. And that's basically all. So just saying a very quick goodbye to everybody. Do we have a Subbox Live? Yes, we have a Subbox Live. It's tomorrow evening at 30:30. Can't remember now what time. It's tomorrow evening. I'll post the event on our page tomorrow, and it's the unboxing of our Makers box and well, having a sneak peek into the Flock box, but you've already seen it. So the edging tool is in my cart, says Terry. I'm putting in tomorrow. I'm so excited to get them, and other goodies. Have learned so much here tonight. Many thanks. Steffi, says Sharon. Are you saying useful cows, Steffi? Am I saying useful cows? Useful cows, useful cows. No idea what you're talking about, Lydia, but I'm sure I said something weird that made you think that. There's no code needed, as it does it at the end of the checkout. That's a good point, Colette. If you just spend £50, we automatically, and you've spent it on the right thing that applies for the free wool mix, we'll just send it out to you. You don't need a code. And the same for any orders over £100. We'll just send you a free robin kit. Who doesn't want a free robin kit? What about making a piece of felt, then pin a template on top and cut around? If it works for you, I'm sure it works absolutely fine. Thank you, have learned so much, says Margaret. Thank you, Margaret, for watching. Anyone know what code to use to buy today? Okay, we've covered that. No code needed. Oh no. Okay. You want to know what I've just read, don't you? Well, I'm not going to tell you. It's nothing terrible. It's just me making noises as I'm reading messages. Right, okay, this is it. I'm done. 100%. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you all for being just you and supporting the makers as always. Absolutely love you all to bits. And do share your flowers with us, however you display them. We want to see them, whatever color, whatever variation you're doing, and just do lots of them. That's the trick. Do lots and lots and lots of them. Take care, everybody. I'm going to keep my glasses on because it feels... No, definitely see you better that way. So, yeah. Bye, everybody. Have a good night. Bye.